Hey, good morning, everyone, and great to have you here today for this talk. Benny, Alex, great to have you, and super excited to hear your thoughts and ideas about the opportunities and challenges we're all facing and sports is currently facing when looking at Gen Z and how to reach them. So let's probably just dive right in. Benny, you've just recently moved from FIFA to the World Ski Association, FIS. So what are kind of the different opportunities, the different challenges you're facing between those two organizations?
First of all, good morning. Many thanks for having me. It's a very, very exciting challenge that we have at hand. We have 6 Olympic sports and several non-Olympic sports, and we need to make sure that via reaching and engaging with younger audiences, we build the future of our sports. And the challenge here is when you look into how behavioral patterns and values have changed, especially with younger audiences, we completely need to change the playbook. Especially Gen Z they have the shortest attention span ever. There is so much competition out there. Most of them don't even have a television. So it's all about storytelling and giving them actually reasons to be part of our community and to stay with our community. So the challenges that we're facing here at the moment is, of course, create a respective culture in order to do that, have the right mindset, the right people. Also aiming for a test, learn, optimize approach. Start working with data on a much deeper level in order to guide our hypotheses and our validations, and then basically become a content company that uses content as a currency to unlock a relationship with the next generation.
So being Director of Digital Innovation, I think that's your title right now. Is it about innovating within the organization too, or?
It's, of course, innovating within the organization as well. There's a massive cultural aspect coming with that, where we need to create the right mindset to enable making mistakes in order to be really quick to experiment and learn much faster. So not everything that we will try will actually work. So there's a huge cultural aspect also internally in order to empower people and enable a new mindset in order to move to the future via faster experimentation.
And we've heard, Alex, you do a lot on Twitch, but is that a platform you're currently working on too, or is that?
Of course, coming from FIFA, we're looking into Twitch as well. However, we always call it that in the digital sphere, we are just at the start of our maturity journey. Diplomatically said, we have the second mover advantage. And Twitch, of course, is a very, very interesting platform, especially for Gen Z. But before we enter new platforms randomly, there are a lot of platforms where we need to optimize our proposition and content first. But it's an interesting platform where I'm pretty sure that in the future, once we have done our homework on the existing platform, this will be quite relevant for us.
Yeah. Alex, we just saw that you were doing stuff on Twitch too, and your current job title on LinkedIn is actually something at SPONTENT. So what is that something? Is it about Twitch? Is it about Gen Z? What is it that you do?
Yeah, I don't like these business titles. And to be honest, when I look back into the last 3 years, I've been a professional beach volleyball player, and the beach volleyball season is super short. It's only 4 months. So I really decided early. So I'm like a first mover there, early as a beach volleyball player, to extend my season through 12 months on social media, on my own. That's how I started. And that's why I ended up in 2020, streaming on Twitch as a streamer, having a face cam on me and watching games and analyze games with my community. That's why I started. And I started a YouTube channel and also a podcast. And then the whole season got canceled, and me and my friends decided to make a beach volleyball tournament without audience. And then we decided to make it on Twitch because you can get super close to the audience and to the community. And that's pretty much it. and now I get introduced as a founder and whatever. So that changed in the last 2 years. So we're working close with the EHF in the show called Spin on Twitch. And it's a long journey, and whenever we start a new partnership with the federations, everything, it feels like we had the good chance to not destroy structure, just build it up from the beginning, because we started with our own league, on our own channel, with me as a founder, but also as a host. So it was super easy. So I totally understand the challenges all the federations right now have, being in the TV market and selling all the rights, but also playing with their rights on the other hand to increase the reach in the younger generation. So this is tough.
Yeah, it sure is. And I mean, quite a career from something to CEO and founder. And I know you said once, we don't show sports, we produce sports content. And our recommendation is to just have the most interactive sports channel in the world. So, you know, like thinking about it, talking about Twitch and all these social media channels, how important is it to be interactive, innovative, and what role does Twitch play in that? Or is there other platforms where you could do the same?
No. Like, that's why we decided for Twitch, or we were aiming for Twitch, because this is the best platform you can aim for. Like, to be honest, there are huge streamers, and I know that some of you guys you don't know yet, and maybe it's good that you don't know. There are streamers, like German streamers, they are in the beginning of their 20s, they are unboxing Pokemon cards, and there are 300,000 live spectators in their chats, living the dream of finding the one card which is super expensive and something like this. So this is the young generation part of our generation then right now, and the other part is tuning in on television at 3 p.m. on Saturday and watching my handball club. I like this part more, but to be honest, the other part is already there, and this is tough to handle.
Yeah, and we're probably not GenZ exactly anymore, so I think that's true. Like, obviously, there's different user experience, and just like you say, you know, like the one part is there. Those kids on Twitch, they're already there doing that, and still we gotta find ways, just like you guys said.
Yeah. The problem is that with the approach of sport, in my opinion, is that we are always copying the same things we are doing for 20 years now and trying to reach the younger generation, but nobody's really understanding that there's a totally different language. They're totally, like, they're grown up totally different. And this is like, it was an on-air festival, I think. Someone told us that there's 0.4 seconds until you reach, until you recognize if there is good content or bad content waiting for you. Yeah. And even we are still talking, it's funny because on the marketing side, we are always talking about, they are always talking about social media, but it's not social media anymore, right? So it's more like entertainment media, and that's how you have to understand it. And I think sport isn't doing that very well right now, but I can understand why, totally, like I told before.
Yeah, and looking at Benny, you know, we were just talking about all the challenges we're facing, but obviously there's a lot of opportunities too. So now, just looking at some numbers, GenZ will actually soon become the most influential generation ever, with about $3.5 trillion in buying power. But then again, only 50% of them actually say they're sports fans. Looking at millennials, we were at 70. I mean, that's quite a drop. What do you think sports organizations, federations can do to actually get back their attention, get them engaged, and, you know, like, have them refer to themselves as sports fans again?
I think it's very important to be specific about what you can do and what you can't do. So we are looking into transcending towards building platform and service capabilities, because will FIS ever be a love brand? Probably not. But we have one of the most successful and empathic athletes in the world with fantastic stories. So basically become a platform that services them all. And then beyond that also, we cannot do it alone. It's so important that we need to start engage with the next generation and learn from them. How do we need to build products? How do we create content? How do we create communities? This is the sports problem that you've referred for. The current playbook is not working with that. We need to start, listen very, very carefully and on a regular basis and be educated by the next generation. how we actually build the future of the sports, because the behavioral change, as you have said, is significant.
And just tapping right in, and I think you got my cue cards, because you were just referring to athletes and the power of athletes. So looking at, like, things that happened recently, when Messi, like, just announced his transfer to Inter Miami, their Instagram account just skyrocketed from 1 million followers to 8 million followers in just a matter of weeks. How important do you think athletes are? And I mean, historically, a lot of sports federations too, they value the athlete, but then again, they're like, don't show our content, don't have that out there. I think is there a need for change?
They're the biggest ambassadors. There's definitely a massive need for change. At Bayern Munich, we've seen exactly the same phenomena with James Rodriguez. And we have amazing athletes in all the different sports that have a much deeper relationship with their communities, and they have much more human stories to tell, because humans identify with humans, and this is something where we need to serve them in a better way with assets and tools in order to utilize them to extend the reach in a very, very competitive entertainment and media landscape.
But do you think, and a question to both of you, that like clubs and leagues and federations are going to become dependent on athletes too, because they are going to have the social media following, and especially with clubs, if like an athlete moves from A to B, just like Messi did, the following is going to be gone, and people are going to like switch around with the athlete as opposed to actually being into a club, a league, a federation. And what do you think can be done?
Happy to answer first. I think it doesn't make any sense to think about that in a siloed way, that this is only my followers. It's about leveling it up for the entire sports, for the entire discipline. So even with the example of Messi, it's not only about the followers of Miami, it's about Major League Soccer leveling up, and soccer leveling up in the US, where there's a lot of competition from other sports as well. So with each athlete being more successful, that helps our platforms, that helps the broadcasters, that helps the entire ecosystems, and also helps us to realize incremental commercial value.
What do you think?
I totally agree, but the problem, and I always think about, like, I've been a player in the beginning, and I was always, I got punished for being too honest on social media, for sharing everything. So I know for sure there are some people also here in this room right now already talk to young players. Hey, can you please behave a little different on your social media platform? So I think the biggest problem is we are not able to tell stories like soccer does, because soccer is too big to fail in this moment. So there's so many TV shows and everything with Messi. So he doesn't have to take care on his own. But usually a young athlete wants to make content on his own, but you have to connect it to the club, to the federation, and to the whole world of sport fans. And that's what we don't do, because there's some, sorry for being too honest, older generations in our clubs and federation and sports, and they are not like really enabling the athletes to be open and to tell the story. So I think it's nearly impossible to connect all the stories from a young player playing in the youth team of their club, and then in the end they're going through the first division, and then from the first division maybe they're going to international club, and then they already have a followership. So we are missing those opportunities, in my opinion. Well, it's tough. You guys, you're working with helmet sports, so to be honest, you can be the best in the world, and nobody knows you. And this is tough, and especially in a time of TV panels where you have you're starting with your helmet on, and the TV turns off when your helmet is still on. It's tough. But it's the same with handball players, in my opinion. They're signing a contract every year, and then they're moving to the next club, and we really need to enable them to be part of the story. And I think we have to focus more on this. And then we can have the chance to switch on a storytelling to the younger target group and everything. Because they are used to watch their famous or their favorite influencer watching what they're having for breakfast. I know it's kind of stupid and I don't like it, but it's here. So yeah.
That's kind of the life we live in, I think, and the world we live in right now. And just thinking about it, and you were already mentioning influencers and talking about crazy ideas. I mean, looking at Piquet's Kings League, and like they just using influencers with huge reaches will be like just a completely different approach to like tackling and bringing sports to a fan. They're kind of challenging professional football right now, at least to some extent. Do you guys think it's a circus? Is that the future of professional sports? Is that what we're looking at when talking about athletes becoming influencers, leveraging the power, thinking out of the box? Is that what we're kind of looking at when talking about sports?
Yeah.
It is?
It's true.
I agree. I think it's entertainment first and then a professional sports. But it's product differentiation and product market fit. And this is working with the young audiences. So we need to learn from that as quickly as possible.
Yeah, I think entertainment first is like one of the key things here that you just mentioned and you were both talking about. And you're like, having that entertainment factor, having that attention spans with the kids, with the young audiences, with Generation Z, you're like, it's so hard to actually capture them. Do you have any kind of favorite campaigns outside of like Kings League, anything where you're like, this is so cool, I've seen this, this is out of the box, this is what should be done more of in sports, Benny?
I think from a lot of the studies, you learn how important it is to create fandom at a younger age. So it's really important to understand how gaming and lifestyle works. And here we see a huge opportunity around winter sports as well. And think about how can we enter ecosystems and stories where we're not at the moment. Looking into US, when you think about what the NBA is doing around lifestyle, or also how an NHL is collaborating, for instance, with Disney on what they're doing on Roblox, those are very, very interesting initiatives that we want to learn from. So there are a lot of really interesting cases out there, but it's not only sports, it's the wider entertainment ecosystem as well that we need to learn from. I have a 9-year-old son at home and he's crazy for Pokemon and Pokemon Go, and this is a great learning experience.
That is still a thing? I thought that was gone by now.
No,
at least Pokemon Go, I figured it was gone.
No,
right.
I think it's coming back. Like,
any favorites on your end, Alex? Anything you're like, that campaign has been like super exciting, something just out of the box?
To be honest, what we are doing, but this is, it's not, I know that it sounds a little bit arrogant then, but like beach volleyball is a small market, like it's a small sport. It's not like you really have to change something. And especially after Corona, we are able to build it up from the beginning. And like I told you, we started with a stream, so we are kind of reverse building it up. We are having a digital community, and now we are organizing the German Beach Tour, for example, which is the biggest European beach volleyball tour we're having in Germany. So we are inviting our community. They were watching us for hundreds of hours on the live stream. We are inviting them to the tournaments on site. And so we changed the audience within 3 years because the digital community is coming to the tournaments now. And what we are doing, like you've seen on Twitch, there's a chat on the side all the time. And as a host, you're talking to your community, so you're really reading the chats and engaging with them. They can buy the tickets through that and everything. And we always have an MVP voting after a match. And what we did, and we didn't notice before, we're just doing it, when they showed up the first time in the stadium, in the beach volleyball stadium, when we vote the MVP in the chat, they're collecting their phones and doing it the same way. So whenever we are having the MVP voting, the whole stadium is on their phone voting at the same time. So we had the reverse chance, to be honest, to build it up from zero. So this is kind of new. So that's why we can have the whole storytelling through the digital markets, and that's interesting. But it's still super small, and that's why sounds so easy. Yeah.
Yeah, it probably is easier coming from a smaller sport too.
Right.
Than you were talking about the change that's necessary to even get there with Fizz. But
I think it's about setting examples of changes. What we have done, we did a lot of experiments during the last season, and sometimes it's simple exposure. So we started live streaming the Junior World Championships on YouTube, and the audiences we have generated on the one hand, but also the positive engagement was just amazing and proved to the organization a point that there's a completely underutilized asset out there that we can unlock via digital means. And then, of course, it's also about learning. We tried live streaming on TikTok as well, where we asked the community, what do you actually want to see? With this, we're not there yet, but it's important to have those experiments and start asking the community, what do you want us to do? Where do you want us to give you more insights, behind the scene perspective? And yeah, we need to continue this journey.
Yeah, and I think you guys have just touched like all these platforms, TikTok, Twitch. Is there a one-fits-all approach? Is there going to be like, you were talking about trial and error, is that what everybody like, in order to change, is that what we need to do? Just, like, go ahead and don't be scared. Like, it's a pretty German thing to be scared and, like, to not think out of the box, I guess. Is that where we need to be, like, loosen up and just go ahead and be like, let's try, and if it doesn't work, just, like, let's try something different? Is that how we go about platforms and how we do that?
I think first of all, we need to understand, and everyone needs to understand, that there are two different markets right now. You can for sure have your running system, and it works on television and everything, and your older channels, and then there's a new world. And there you can have a new, like having the youth championships via Twitch live, having the highlights then on YouTube, and on TikTok, and on Instagram. And the funny things, like the bloopers or the fails, you can put on Instagram and as well, and you'll reach, for sure, people who are not interested in your sport yet. But that's what, to be honest, every streamer and every YouTuber is doing that for 10 years now, and we are still talking about it in sport.
Now we're going to get there eventually.
Yeah, it's not, I don't want to blame anyone, but it's, so, and I think the first thing is you have to understand there are two different markets and two different products, and then you can build it up. Otherwise, it's super tough, because we're always, like the pretty German thing, or we are like afraid of losing something. Like going back with your main product 5%, maybe taking back some sports life rights, putting them on the new worlds, because then you can enable like 50% reach. But this is always getting a step back to make 2 steps forward. And I think we're a little bit too afraid. And of course, it's because you guys have to lose a lot. The EHF does have the same, a big product, like super professional product, but it feels like, well, I'm new to the market, I'm only 2 or 3 years here talking about this and everything, but it feels like the market is talking about it like 10 years already, and still there's nobody who really changed it. So
yeah, and
let's go for
like
it.
a lot of time on the fact that we're probably going to get kicked off this stage pretty soon. I think that's a pretty good closing remark too, like being like, don't be afraid. Let's just try things. We're still kind of late to the party in sports, but there's so much out there. There's so much opportunity for all of us to just unleash once we actually believe in and actually like are no longer afraid to try. So
it's the magic of sports. There are average people showing their breakfast and, hey guys, I'm going to the gym and I'm doing some average stuff there. They're professional athletes. They're the best in the world in what they are doing.
Yeah.
Whenever we start telling those stories, this is going to be huge. But we are more or less we are focusing on other things, in my opinion. And it would be easy to increase it.
Yeah, and it's back to telling stories, having entertainment, like you said earlier.
And giving additional access and really enable the storytelling. We call it internally the Peter Steiner effect, when you look into the Formula One and what the Drive to Survive has done in order to build new profiles and new stories. So when you look into the US, all of a sudden, the average audience is actually younger by 4 years, and a lot of people are actually only tuning into the broadcast because they don't want to see Verstappen racing Hamilton. They want to see crazy Peter Steiner, because there's another background story that has been built up via Drive to Survive and social media. And transcending this to our sports, we have fantastic athletes with great stories. And at the moment, we're often only showing them in their competition environment with helmets, where we have the same problem as the Formula One in terms of identification. So utilizing stories and digital media in order to tell their stories, but not only as FIS, following up on the platform approach, letting them tell their stories and accelerating it, in our opinion, will unlock the next level of growth, and also make sure that we are not left behind, and ensure that we are relevant to the younger audience in a very, very competitive ecosystem.
Yeah, so thanks. I think that's pretty good closing remarks right here, because we're actually going to get kicked off now, I guess. So thank you so much, guys. I think it was super interesting to see and hear and what you're experiencing, what we're facing, and what your thoughts are about where we can go and where sports should go, where handball should go, and what we all need to try. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.